Welcome to another episode of Living the Dream in Canada. I'm your host, Keisha Johnson, and it's always such a pleasure to be here with you. This is a show that connects you with who? The living legends, the game changers, the trendsetters, and the trailblazers in Canada. And we invite them here to share their stories, their journey to success, so that we can all learn and be on our own path to success too. Today we're going to be talking about the Jamaican diaspora, and in particular, there's a conference coming up next month. And I mean, I've got the Consul General for Jamaica to Toronto, or at Toronto, here with me, Lloyd Wilkes, and he's going to be telling us why all of Jamaican Canadians and friends of Jamaica need to make their way to Kingston, Jamaica for this conference. Sir, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you with us.
Very great pleasure to be here. I want to wish your audience a very warm and friendly Jamaican welcome.
We heard you came up with some sunshine recently because it's feeling like Jamaica right now.
Yes, it's the first day of summer, and so it's warm, it's friendly, it's nice, and I hope it stays that way throughout the summer. We're certainly
fingers crossed, tap on wood.
Yes, we're certainly looking forward to welcoming as many Jamaican Canadians and friends of Jamaica as is possible for them to come. It's going to be an awesome event, and we had 2,500 participants last year. Last
one. It's every 2 years. It's a biennial conference.
Indeed.
Okay.
And so we're looking forward to receiving a significant number from Canada. In fact, I should tell you that Canada has always had the largest delegation.
Oh, is that right?
Indeed.
Okay.
And it's a credit to those who, before now, had organized delegations. People like Philip Maskell and so on played significant roles in doing so. The Jamaican Canadian Association, the various presidents and heads of other organizations in this country.
They really marshaled the people to get them there.
Yes, they did, and they're doing so now. And I want to publicly acknowledge their participation. This year we have a committee headed by Joe Halstead, and Joe is a great guy. With so many accolades, it's too long to list, and so we have a great team working to bring as many Jamaicans as possible to the conference. Year.
So we need to, for those who are not familiar, paint a picture for us as to what Diaspora Conference is about.
Ooh, that's wonderful. The Jamaica Diaspora Conference is a family event. It's a family day, Jamaican family. It's for the Jamaican family and friends of Jamaica to meet, to get together and to consult with each other, to speak about our business, to look at how we can help each other in resolving issues we may have, problems we may have, and also in advancing our interests collectively.
And I'm glad you've said that, because this year's theme is partnering for growth.
That's right.
And I understand that there's a growth agenda.
There is.
So we really want to hear about that, because this is where the nuts meet the bolts now.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about that growth agenda, what it entails, and I'm particularly interested in what the strategic objectives are for Jamaica that the diaspora can get involved and engage with in a tangible way.
So in 2004, the Jamaican government with the diaspora had its first conference, following on, of course, from a symposium, which resulted in a resolution that proclaimed the necessity for the Jamaican diaspora in all our various regions overseas and the government of Jamaica to get together and to have a proper engagement process that was formalized. Now
so that didn't exist before. That formal structure did not exist
No, it did not exist before.
Wow.
Although the point is made that so many Jamaicans had previous to that been engaging Jamaicans at the institutional level, at the personal level, at the community level. This had happened before.
Right.
So in recognition of that, then it was sensible and necessary for us to formalize those structures and to ensure that persons who wanted to be engaged had a facility that government would have put in place. That facility was put in place. I'll give you that little bit of history to say that 13 years later, we are much improved. Things have been designed now in a way that instead of just having consultations on issues like donation of goods and various other types of philanthropy, now we're having conversations about how Jamaicans can invest in Jamaica, how Jamaicans can participate more fully in economic discourse, in discourse regarding culture, various forms of social expression, sports. And so we have broadened the platform, so to speak, on the number of things that Jamaicans overseas, as part of our family, can participate in. Not solely now for the benefit of the country and the people in the country, but certainly for the benefit of those abroad as well. So that
But that makes sense, because when you consider, I mean, whether it's anecdotal or not, and you can correct me, I've always heard it said that the number of Jamaicans living outside of Jamaica are the same or even more than the 2.8 million now that live in Jamaica.
Yes.
So we are a very influential group, not just in numbers, but in terms of all the different other capacities that we bring to bear on the country. So it makes sense that you would want to strategically engage the diaspora. So now you're saying all these other areas. I'm particularly interested to hear, for this conference, what are the specific ways or the specific initiatives that we want the diaspora to be engaged in going forward?
Okay. So carrying on from the question before, which leads very nicely, segues very nicely into this one. We have specific areas of growth which the government has identified. And a lot of those coincide with areas of interest which the diaspora already
they're involved in some way.
So health, education, investment are three of the top line areas, but of course those are broken out into other areas as well. And so the health initiative is a very, very, very important one for the government, as indeed is education. And a great number of persons in the diaspora are very keen on engaging in health and education. But then that has to be broken down. We have to look at what are the needs, what are the national priorities in all of those areas. But then there are people who have interest in the arts. How can one participate in the arts? There are people who have interest in sports. How can we capitalize on sports? What is the value added? How can we extend our services and utilize the expertise of our diaspora members, the investment of our diaspora members, so that not that we're keeping the wealth amongst our community, we're certainly ensuring, however, that our Jamaican community and friends of Jamaica can and do have first bite. So if you avail yourself of the opportunity to participate in conference, where by the way there's going to be a marketplace.
Yes, we want to get into that a little later on too. We have to talk about the marketplace.
Yes, but there are going to be opportunities to engage with people at the highest level in our private sector, in our public sector.
And I want to hear about some of those opportunities, because one of the things I wonder about is how can you best prepare to take advantage of this opportunity going to the conference? How do you best prepare yourself so that you make the most of when you're there?
Most people, and we have a captive audience, I have to say. And so this show, for example, offers us a unique opportunity to reach people who perhaps we haven't previously reached, people who have not previously had an opportunity to get some information about the conference and what it's all about. So it is like a huge PPP opportunity, public-private partnership, where the people, the government,
it's not a political party,
and private sector, indeed, can embrace this initiative and work together to create a framework, not just an environment, but a framework that has very specific nodes and very specific frameworks, so that people can engage very usefully in productive ways. So they know, for example, okay, I'm interested in agriculture. What are the agencies involved in agriculture? What are the projects involved in agriculture? How do I identify these people, these things? How do I link suppliers and people who are buyers? How do I link it up? How do I get in touch directly with a farmer? How do I get in touch with the value-added people? If I'm doing manufacturing, who are the players? What are the incentives? And so companies like JAMPRO and the small business people in Jamaica are on spot to provide that type of information. But those persons who are interested beforehand, we are available to provide you with information as to how you can get in touch with them, how you can prepare yourself. Meaning, are there specific things you are interested in? We can channel those questions, channel those interests.
So you're saying if you have specific interests right now, before you go, they can get in touch with the consulate.
Absolutely.
And you'll give them the direction they need.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And information about the consulate is available, about the conference is available on our ministry's website, which is www.mfaft.gov.jm.
And that's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
Indeed.
Okay.
So people can go onto that site and gain a wealth of information regarding the conference, not just what's going to be happening there, but how to connect with whom, how to connect with the actual conference secretariat, how to register, what are the hotels which are
Yes,
have been
in our
endorsed.
coming up in our next segment, I'd like us to talk about some of those logistics because people, I mean, when I tell people that we're going to be talking about this, they start asking me questions and I'm
Yes.
directing them to the website.
Yes.
But then there are other questions that are not there
Certainly.
that they have. So we want to get into the logistics later on. But you're saying, so who is the conference for?
So the
The
conference,
diaspora, yes, but describe the kinds of persons that you want to come.
right. So the conference is for the entire Jamaican family, and it is designed to treat with the interest of the diaspora and the government of Jamaica, the two principles for which it was designed. And so let us examine what that looks like. So you have people who have varied interests. Some people are coming because they want to be in an atmosphere where Jamaica and Jamaicans, the interest of Jamaicans is at the center, and they want to participate in
They're
that.
passionate about their
carnival.
country and it's, yes.
Passionate about. There are people who are going there because they are interested in philanthropy, and they have been donating things to Jamaica over the years. They want to meet the principals. They want to know how to gain duty-free access to goods. They want to be a part of that discourse. They want to be a part of all that is taking place regarding those types of questions. There are people who are going because they're interested in investment opportunities. So they're going to meet and engage with all the investment people who are organizations, agencies involved in the whole business of investment. There are people who are interested in the various kind of socially responsible agencies. They want to talk about, for example, what's happening with youth development, what's happening with children who are falling out of school, what's happening with women who are single parents and so on, what's happening with a variety of social ills, and so they'll have an opportunity to do it. Then there is government at your service. And I have to tell you that all the government agencies will be there. So if you want a land title or you have land issues and you want to have a discourse with them, you can go directly to the land agency that will be there. You want a passport, you want a birth certificate, those agencies will be there.
Okay, so it's a one-stop shop for any kind of business that you would want to do, almost in Jamaica,
yes.
at the conference. We're talking about the Diaspora Conference in Jamaica coming up in July. We're going to give you the dates and the location and specific details in our next segment coming right up. Please stick with us. We'll be right back.
Looking forward to it.
In a sea of people, it's easy to get lost amongst all the stories we have to tell. With this platform, a new voice is being heard, one that offers real insight to transform, educate, and inspire greatness, always building, nurturing, and evolving with the times. Our goal is to make a statement, to transform the world, and engage all of its citizens. Accepting multiculturalism is taking the first step, and listening to each other, uniting towards positive change. It's not about any one race, religion, or culture, but about uplifting and empowering one another. Standing above segregation is our game. Our vision is to expand, to create and implement change, zeroing in on what matters the most. Banding together to preserve and celebrate our heritage, cultures, and community spirit. Become inspired by real people, your friends and family, and see that impact within our society. Be proud of the work we have done together. Community focused, we are the Toronto Caribbean newspaper.
Welcome back to Living the Dream in Canada. I'm your host, Keisha Johnson. Today we're talking about the Jamaica Diaspora Conference that's coming up in July. And we have in studio with us Consul General for Jamaica to Toronto, or at Toronto, because it's not just a GTA, it's not just Toronto he covers, but all of the GTA. So Lloyd Wilkes is here and telling us about this conference and why it is so important for all Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica to go down to the conference that's going to be in July. Can you remind us of the dates?
It's the 23rd to the 26th of July, but I have to say that the 27th is actually a day of service.
Okay, meaning?
Which is part of the conference, as it were, meaning that persons can design or get in touch with organizations that have designed projects that they are going to carry out on that day.
Oh, okay, so it's like a Labor Day kind of thing.
It's like a Labor Day. So let's say people want to go to a school and they want to build a bathroom, or they want to clean a bathroom, or they want to paint the building, or put up new computers, or whatever it is that can be designed in that day of service. So that
and that's
day
on the
is set up for
27th?
that, on the 27th.
Okay, okay.
So the 23rd through to the 26th, we are discussing and talking about stuff. We're dealing with the marketplace. We're dealing with government at your service. So there are about 10 agencies of government. And of course, the marketplace where people display things, and then the various plenaries and open sessions and so on. That will be taking place during the 23rd to the 26th.
Okay, okay. And so what does it cost for people to go to the conference?
It's the registration is $195.
Okay.
And that's early bird.
And early bird, I guess, ends soon.
Yes.
Because this is July.
Yes, it ends in another couple of days.
Oh, my goodness.
So you have your early bird option, and after that, it's $240.
Okay, so we definitely need to know when the early bird special ends, so people can make sure that they capitalize on that. It's July. It's June 22nd.
Yes.
That's right. That's next Thursday.
No.
No.
No, June 22nd.
June 22nd is tomorrow. Oh my goodness!
So
you don't have much time.
But I suspect that the period might be extended by a few days. But in any event, we urge persons who are interested to register now. We have made arrangements with Caribbean Airlines, which will give you 10% off the regular fare, whatever the regular fare is on the day that you're booking. So you get 10% off that regular fare. There are other airlines, obviously, so those persons who have an interest in going, you're not tied to Caribbean Airlines, but it is the airline that we have made a special
so we're partnership with. Okay.
Yes. And so whatever the fare is for that, let's say it's $600, you have $195 for registration, or $240 as the case may be, depending. And you obviously will need some spending money. Accommodation will probably cost you about $250 Canadian.
For the period?
No,
per night?
Unless, of course, you go on university campus, the Mona Lodge, which will, for young people, we have put that in place. It's $40 a night,
okay.
$6 for breakfast, and we put on transportation within the amount you've paid for registration. We offer you transportation from the hotels to the conference center and return to the hotels at night.
Okay.
Within the package, of course, there'll be meals throughout the day. So you have breaks and you have lunch. So people can have a morning break, you can have lunch, and you have an afternoon break. So essentially, people will only have to find their dinner. We'll have a lot of entertainment during the 3 days. So people have options as to where they want to go and what they want to do. But it'll be exciting. It's also being hosted at a time, as you know, when Kingston is 145 years old. And so we're celebrating that. It's being hosted at a time when Jamaica is 55 years old.
Yes.
And we're celebrating that.
So it's a big celebration all around.
It's a big celebration, and at a time when I think the diaspora movement is at a very interesting place. And we're beginning to find a good traction at home and abroad. And so people are growing the idea of this collaborative effort between us. I mean, those at home and those abroad is gaining real traction. And we're trying to ensure that that momentum continues. And we can define in very, very discreet ways what the interests are, and then build that ecosystem around those interests to support it. So we're very, very pleased so far with the response, and we're just hoping that more and more people will find it. And let me say this, the actual celebration of independence starts from Emancipation Day on the 1st of August, and we go on to Independence Day. And so people have an opportunity to join the celebrations of the 145th anniversary of Kingston, join the celebration of Emancipation Day, join the celebration of Independence Day, and actually go to the Grand Gala.
So you're basically telling us we need to be there for 2 weeks at least.
Oh yes, why not? It's home. And so we're inviting the rest of our family home, and we're saying, look, let's come home, let's go home together, let's party, let's have fun, let's appreciate each other, let's love each other in a way that is endearing, it's productive, it's helpful, it's refreshing. So when you get back to Canada, you would have really had a good and worthwhile time.
And the worthwhile part of it is so important to me, not just for the vacation and going home and connecting with all of that, but once the conference is over, what are we putting in place to ensure that we're seeing some tangible results out of those discussions?
And that is very important because leading, for example, out of Jamaica 50, there are a number of legacy projects. And so people can see legacy projects coming out of Jamaica 50 and now coming out of the last conference. There are also projects that were set up at that time and are still ongoing. And you can point to them and can say, well, look, we've done this, we've done that. Coming out of this conference, similarly, we want to see projects, we want to see success stories. And there are a number of success stories. So we haven't told those stories. So we haven't said, for example, there are X number of young people who have gone home, I beg your pardon, who have successfully matriculated into university, successfully graduated, and are now working in the marketplace. We have not said how many have set up businesses and have successfully done so. I mean, needless to say that there may be people who have gone home and not seen the success that they desired, but that happens anywhere. But there are a great majority of persons who have gone home and who have successfully settled in, they're doing well. Some are returning residents, but some are people who have gone into business and are doing enormously well.
We need to hear those stories of encouragement and to encourage others to do likewise, because there are people who want to do stuff and a lot of times they don't know how to navigate, or they're waiting to hear, somebody else who's gone ahead and done it. That's what this show does. It brings you, connects you with those people. So we'd love to have some of them on to share those stories actually.
I can, for example, I know one young lady that comes to mind instantly because she was part of our youth group, and she went home to Montego Bay and she started to work initially with a software company, and then she set up her own business, registered her business, set it up, and she's doing extremely well. And there are a number of them.
So the opportunities abound. You're saying there are lots of opportunities in Jamaica for people to engage, whether business, philanthropy, or whatnot, social enterprise. The opportunities are there. It's not well known. So we have to get the word out there. So coming to this conference, you're saying, is going to help to educate us.
Every time. And more so, it gives you an appetite as to really what the possibilities are. Now, you can read the reports, sure. Some of it might be live streamed. But once you are there, there's an energy, there's a buzz. Yes. You taste, you feel, you touch. And there's nothing like being in Jamaica for that. Every taste, every feel, every touch.
Come to Jamaica and feel all right.
Oh gosh, it's something just, it's different. And it's dear to, and each person's experience is their own.
Yes.
So we're inviting persons to come and have your experience. It can be retold, it can be recounted.
But it's nothing like being there for yourself.
Nothing like being there for yourself.
Okay. So early bird rate for the Jamaica Diaspora Conference ends tomorrow. There's a likelihood that it might be extended, but you say, make hay while the sun shines.
Yes.
So if you really want to go, we encourage you to go to the website. It's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade website. So it's
www.mfaft.gov.jm.
Right? And there's JM, and the Diaspora Conference page will come up and you can peruse the information there. There are hotel deals, there is airline deal. What else?
Well, they said hotel, there's accommodation, there's airline.
Yes. We have to talk about the marketplace.
Yes, and so the marketplace, that's exciting.
Yes.
And so the marketplace provides a real insight into all the various manufacturers and service providers that are in Jamaica, and some that are not in Jamaica, in fact.
Yeah, because what if I want to go down and have a booth or something? Can I?
You absolutely can.
Okay.
And so it's an exciting area where people can interface directly with the service providers or with the persons who are manufacturing stuff.
So how do I go about doing that?
Well, get in touch with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs through the website.
Okay.
You can engage them in inquiries as to how you can be a booth holder, somebody who's participating in the marketplace, and I'm sure they'll be very, very
Can we
happy.
do that through your office here as well, or do we have to
Indeed,
go directly?
indeed, I can also tell you our website, which is www.jcgtoronto.ca. www.jcgtoronto.ca. So get in touch with us here in Canada, if you will, or directly with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And either way, you will get the information you require. But the marketplace is phenomenal. And it is also the place where you can engage in discussions about business. It's not just to go to look at what is being produced or what services can be provided, but how can I engage in a productive enterprise with you? How can I buy from you? How can I sell to you? How can I partner with you? And so I think it's an ideal opportunity for persons who want to do those sorts of things. And of course, there's government at your service. So for all those persons who require government services and have not been able to get it adequately from the distance that they're trying, maybe they're trying to work out taxes, maybe they're trying to sort out land documents, maybe they're trying to get passports in 24 hours, maybe they're trying to get citizenship, maybe they're trying to get birth or death or marriage certificates. A myriad of services are offered there. Not to mention if you want to do banking, if you want to inquire about insurance schemes, if you want to talk about government bonds, and there's just a myriad of services and activities which you can engage in over those 3 days, which you cannot do if you're sitting in Canada having fun in the sun.
Or if you went home on your own, you'd have to go to all the different agencies to get everything done. They're bringing everything in one place. It's going to be a hub. It's July 23rd to 27th. On the 27th, it's going to be the work day where you go and support your school or any other community project. But the Diaspora Conference is going to, well, the theme of it is partnering for growth, for the growth of Jamaica, Jamaicans in Jamaica, Jamaica outside of Jamaica. And so we invite you to participate if you can. We gave you the website information. We'll give it to you one more time. It's
mfaft.gov.jm.
Go there to get the details of how to participate in the 55th Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Okay? And together we thrive. So please go ahead and get your information and go participate. Thank you for joining us. This is another episode of Living the Dream. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Awesome.
Good.
It's easy to get lost amongst all the stories we have to tell. With this platform, a new voice is being heard, one that offers real insight to transform, educate, and inspire greatness, always building, nurturing, and evolving with the times. Our goal is to make a statement, to transform the world, and engage all of its citizens. Accepting multiculturalism is taking the first step, and listening to each other, uniting towards positive change. It's not about any one race, religion, or culture, but about uplifting and empowering one another. Standing above segregation is our game. Our vision is to expand, to create and implement change, zeroing in on what matters the most. Banding together to preserve and celebrate our heritage, cultures, and community spirit. Become inspired by real people, your friends and family, and see that impact within our society. Be proud of the work we have done together. Community focused, we are the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. All great leaders begin with a vision to start a movement, to make a real impact in society, communicating their message and aligning themselves with like-minded people to equip and inspire others to attain their vision. Creating a vital, healthy community is a group effort, and at the heart of it, you'll find local businesses and organizations fueled by committed people who are passionate about building a better tomorrow for us all. The Toronto Caribbean newspaper has started their own movement, promising to focus on the needs of the community, seeking out relationships with businesses and corporations that share in that same mission. We are legacy builders with one shot to make a difference, and together we can empower the community by adding value, instilling self-worth, and showcasing the cultural identity of our beautiful and ethnically diverse community. As business leaders, we have a corporate responsibility to set the tone of our community with principles led by performance-focused results. By combining our reach, we can provide a platform to establish and share our contributions with the world. We are all people working for companies that are interested in building a better community, helping people stand tall and be proud of their culture. If anybody has ever done it, then you can too. We are all capable, and working together, combining our skills and resources, we can make a change and leave behind an unforgettable legacy. When we are born, the world is a foreign place. We have not yet mastered the use of our five senses, and our eyes cannot decipher the complexities of judgments we do not know. As children, our innocence allows us to see a world of endless possibilities. We thrive in the world of imagination, creating a place where everyone writes a unique story, and there is zero judgment, since everyone is the same, yet unique in their own way. Over the years, humanity has altered our ways of thinking, creating stigma, judgment, and prejudice based on the history of our ancestors. We have trained ourselves to believe that our history puts us at a disadvantage in society. Our unique and exotic classifications are a testament to the diversity of the world. History doesn't have a future. It's set in stone. The possibility for change lies in our responsibility to know our self-worth, learning from the history, embracing and honoring our heritage, while educating, inspiring, and empowering others to see past what's in front of them to the power inside. It's not about what you look like, it's about realizing the potential of humanity and recognizing the greatness in everyone. It's time to invest in solutions, change the conversation, and think differently about our future. Life isn't a competition of who can do better than the other. It's about eradicating prejudice, boosting self-esteem, discovering our identity, and carving out our own legacy while aspiring to achieve greatness.
Welcome back to Living the Dream in Canada. I'm your host, Keisha Johnson, and I have in studio with me another wonderful guest today. We've got Robert Ball.
Hello.
It's such a pleasure to have you.
A pleasure to be here.
I feel so special because I've got beside me recording artist, songwriter, model, actor, all of that, all in one package. And just look at him. Isn't he gorgeous? So,
You're too kind.
Robert was introduced to me by a good friend of mine, and I want to give a shout out to Sonia for introducing us. I love your story. 80, you're like, what story? Are you looking at me like, what story?
I have many, I guess.
We'll only tell the good ones, right?
Yes.
But I love your journey, 18 years in the profession, doing music. It's like you're finding your voice. And I think there's so many people who probably would have tried something else.
Yeah.
You know, but you've stuck it through for 18 years. And here we are ready to release your second album.
Absolutely.
This is exciting.
It's very exciting. Yeah.
Tell us about the journey.
The journey has been, as you said, 18 years, so that's long. But it's been rewarding. There's been ups and downs, many successes. I've had the opportunity to work with some incredible people. I've been to over 60 countries.
Wow.
But as you said, finding my voice, because as I call it, a working singer, I've been a working singer for about 18 years, but really finding my individual voice, opposed to singing other people's music, you know, and doing musical theater or being a background singer or a session singer. I'm always singing somebody else's music, somebody else's direction. And even with my previous EP, it was rushed. I can admit that now. And it was limited because I really didn't know what my voice or what my sound was, and so I've really worked hard at that for this particular project. So it's been a journey.
I can imagine, because it's something that they talk about. It doesn't matter what profession you're in, but especially if you are your own brand, which most of us are now today anyways, right? They talk about finding your voice and that process. What was that like for you? Because yes, it took you some time, but what was the discovery like for you?
There were some bumps along the way, but when it locks in, it you just know it.
Yeah.
You know it, you feel it. It's like transient, especially in terms of music. And I remember distinctly, I think it was about 5 years ago, I did a show in New York, and I was doing mostly covers. I wasn't doing originals, but I selected these covers that connected to me, and I had the concept for this show, and it was called Robert Ball 3D, basically, just implying that I am a multi-dimensional individual.
Which
as an
you
artist.
are.
Yes, we all are. We're spiritual, we're physical, we're emotional, we're multifaceted, and I felt that I had been pigeonholed and limited, and so I picked music that I connected to in that way, and something just clicked. And from that point is when I was able to start writing music and finding my lyrical voice and my actual vocal voice.
So describe that for somebody who's not familiar with you and your music. What's that sound?
What's my sound?
Yes.
My sound is, you might not necessarily hear it right away in this new music, but I pull from people like Luther Vandross.
I hear Luther
Do you?
Vandross.
Okay,
Oh my
good.
goodness. I was like, ooh.
Yes. Luther, he's one of the greats.
Yes.
Donny Hathaway, but contemporaries like Jill Scott, D'Angelo, Maxwell, Erykah Badu, Rochelle Farrell, Sarah Vaughan.
So we're talking about that smooth, but still a little bit of the raspiness in there.
Yeah.
It's a little urban, but it's jazzy. It's all of that.
Yeah. It's definitely got the jazz undertones with classic soul, R&B.
Yeah. No, I was listening this morning and I had to turn it up because I was getting a little distracted. The smooth music. No, there's certain songs and there's certain artists, when you turn them on, it's going to put you in a certain mood.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is not for right now. Let's focus on work. So you get the gist of what I'm saying. So you definitely need to get a hold of some of his music, and we'll give you some, the ways you can connect with that in a little while. But one of the other things that I found fascinating about your story, and coming off the interview we just had with the Consul General of Jamaica talking about the Diaspora Conference, is that you are 6th generation Canadian.
That's correct.
But with a Jamaican mom.
That's correct. Yeah.
We don't meet too many of you.
No, and I didn't meet too many of me growing up.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
But you're very connected to your Jamaican roots too, aren't you?
Oh, very much so. That's
like I just heard you drop some patois on the young video and I was like, what?
I can't help it.
Mom did us proud.
She did very proud.
Yeah.
And what's so funny is that I feel like sometimes I'm more Jamaican than her. I mean, she's been here, she'll probably be embarrassed to say, but over 40 years now. And what was interesting about me growing up, and as you mentioned, 6 generations Black Canadian, and then with my Jamaican mother, finding my space in the community, in the Black community, was challenging because I grew up knowing my mother was Jamaican, and not really knowing that was my culture. That was the food that I ate and the language that I heard and the places we visited and the family I hung out with. But I knew my Canadian story. I always heard about my great-great-great-grandfather coming through the Underground Railroad, and my great-great-grandfather who was a prominent minister in the Black community. But I didn't know anybody else like that. And it wasn't until I got to high school that I started to realize, wait a minute, I identify with these Caribbean people. And these Black people, we eat the same food, and we speak the same language, and we've been brought up the same way. We have some of the same funny stories and sad stories and all of the above. And I remember having that conversation with my mother, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you're right," because she didn't really understand why my culture was so prominently or more so Jamaican than Canadian in some ways, but it's because that's how I identified, and that's who I ended up clicking and connecting with.
So do you have more Jamaican friends than, well, no.
As an adult, absolutely.
As an adult, you do.
Yeah.
As an adult. What is it that you love about the country and that part of your history?
That is a very interesting, very difficult question to answer. It feels like home. It feels like home. I mean, this is where I was born and raised, but it feels like home. Of course, I love the food. I think Jamaicans are very strong, passionate, although a lot of times get a bad rap for how aggressive and passionate they are. In a lot of cases, there's deep love. You feel such hospitality in a lot of ways. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of issues and there is a lot of hate. But there's something that is so profoundly deep about the culture. I mean, I think often about how Jamaica, this small country, has had such a global impact. And I don't think a lot of people really recognize what a global impact Jamaica has. A third world country has had...
Very tiny in terms of, even in our population.
Yeah.
Because our population is only 2.8 million people.
That's right.
Well, the current population.
On the island.
On the island. On the island. Right? We were just talking about that the population outside of Jamaica is maybe the same size or greater.
Yeah.
But no, that point cannot be lost. It's really, in terms of geography, in terms of population, it's a really small country.
That's right.
But with a huge global impact.
Huge. Music, food. I mean, it's really unreal. Like I said, I've been to over 60 countries, and everywhere I go, I find some little Jamaican restaurant or Jamaican bar or Jamaican flags everywhere, patty shop or something. Everywhere you go.
It's a good passport to have, or even say, not even the actual passport.
I wouldn't say passport.
Not even say actual passport, but to say Jamaican. You know, when he goes to where you say Jamaican, people treat you like royalty.
People treat you like royalty.
And
absolutely.
I can imagine some of the countries you've gone to. Do you ever make that revelation known?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always say I'm Canadian, and they say, oh, okay. And especially a lot of European countries, they look at me confused because they don't expect black people to be in Canada. But I say my mother's Jamaican, and they say, oh, Jamaica.
You become instant famous, right? Instantly
Absolutely.
famous. Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
So does any of that transcend into your music?
Yeah.
Have you done any reggae?
I have not.
Okay.
But you know, it's funny because the band that recorded 3 out of the 4 songs, they are from Jamaica. I recorded it in Scandinavia, but they're a Jamaican band. And they deliberately kind of threw some underlined reggae.
Oh, I would expect that. That would be difficult for them not to do.
Musicality in there that if you listen closely you'll hear
it. Like, it's like my husband, you know, sometimes we're listening to stuff and he says, do you hear the reggae rhythm? I'm like, what's the reggae rhythm? And he starts tapping, you know, drum beats. I'm like, oh, okay.
Or sometimes it's the keyboard.
Yes, or the keyboard. Ting, ting, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, you know it.
This is wonderful. We're talking to Robert Ball. Robert Ball is he's a multifaceted, creative individual. He is a singer, songwriter. He's a model and an actor as well. And he's got a new album recently released.
Yes.
There's a party going on tomorrow, I hear.
Party, that's right. It's
oh my
tomorrow
gosh,
night
you know, party
right here
like
in Toronto.
So this is part of your launch for your new album. And the new album is, I'm never sure if it's new or Breathe or... Which is
Need.
it?
So
Need.
Breathe is the single.
Breathe is a single. Okay.
And Need is the title of the project.
Of the project. Okay. So we're looking forward to hearing more about this. Let's tell the people where they can go and get a listen even right now.
Yes, even right now you can find it.
Because when we go on break, you can go find it and listen to it. And
that's right. And
you
then tune back in.
Experience what I experienced this morning.
So you can find it on robertballmusic.com. There are links to all of the media and music there, also the music video. If you go to iTunes, Amazon, wherever you stream music, or even SoundCloud and Spotify, you can look up Robert Ball, and the project is entitled Need.
Need. Okay. And so make sure you go and do that. And we want to get your comments when you do, because I mean, I want to know it's not just me. So we're talking to Robert about his music, and we're also talking about a little bit about his heritage, because he comes really nicely packaged. I mean, I'm not talking about him like a commodity, if you get what I'm saying. But no, it's a real nice package in the sense that you're very grounded in who you are. You've got a very rich history and heritage. You're 6th generation Black Canadian, and you're also of Jamaican history and heritage as well. And just how that interplays in who you are as a person and your identity, it's very unique.
It really is. And you know, I remember distinctly this interview with Halle Berry on Oprah, and she was talking about her identity as a mixed race woman and how she identified as a Black woman, and that did not negate her mother, even though especially that she was raised by her mother who was white and she never knew her Black father. And it didn't negate her mother's relationship or that part of her. And so I had to kind of reconcile that as well, as we were speaking a little bit before, in terms of my culture is predominantly Jamaican. But my history, my roots, so much of who I am is that legacy of my Canadian lineage.
Fascinating stuff. We're going to take a quick break. We invite you to stick with us. We'll be right back right here on Living the Dream in Canada.
Great leaders begin with a vision to start a movement, to make a real impact in society, communicating their message and aligning themselves with like-minded people to equip and inspire others to attain their vision. Creating a vital, healthy community is a group effort, and at the heart of it, you'll find local businesses and organizations fueled by committed people who are passionate about building a better tomorrow for us all. The Toronto Caribbean newspaper has started their own movement, promising to focus on the needs of the community, seeking out relationships with businesses and corporations that share in that same mission. We are legacy builders with one shot to make a difference, and together we can empower the community by adding value, instilling self-worth, and showcasing the cultural identity of our beautiful and ethnically diverse community. As business leaders, we have a corporate responsibility to set the tone of our community with principles led by performance-focused results. By combining our reach, we can provide a platform to establish and share our contributions with the world. We are all people working for companies that are interested in building a better community, helping people stand tall and be proud of their culture. If anybody has ever done it, then you can too. We are all capable. And working together, combining our skills and resources, we can make a change and leave behind an unforgettable legacy.
Welcome back to Living the Dream in Canada. I'm your host, Keisha Johnson, and we have in studio with us today Robert Ball. He's a singer, songwriter, model, actor, many other things, and we're talking to him about his work, his journey as a creative person, and also just how his heritage has played a part in that, as well as we were discussing about the diaspora and the contributions that we can make back to our home countries. Today in particular, we're talking about Jamaican diaspora. We just had the Consul General for Jamaica to Toronto here talking about the upcoming diaspora conference and the 55th independence celebration of Jamaica. I hate to put you on the spot, but do you think you might be making it down there?
I was really trying to go, not necessarily for the 55th, but to go see my grandmother and some family. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, unfortunately.
It's okay. You can watch the feed. It won't be the same.
Yeah, it definitely won't be the same.
But Robert's got a new album coming out. Actually, it's already released.
It's already available.
Already available. It is called
Need. The single is Breathe.
The single is Breathe. I keep getting it twisted. Yeah. So the single is Breathe, but the album itself is Need. Yes. Tell us a little bit about Need.
Okay. As the project, or
as the project?
As the project.
Yes.
It has actually been. It's been a labor of love, and as you know, labors of love are not always easy. It's been about 3 years in the making, and that's not from the time that the songs were written. From inception.
Did you write most of the songs?
I wrote all of the songs.
You wrote all the songs? Wow.
Yeah. Wrote and produced everything. So going back to what I said about finding my voice and doing things as being told or mandated,
so you
based
took
on
full
the work.
Creative control of everything.
Full creative control. And so wrote the music, had the opportunity to work with some musicians and perform it a little bit in New York and Toronto. Then I got to perform it in I recorded in Scandinavia with the Jamaican band, three of the songs. They kind of sat around for a little bit, had to get the money together and strategize. And then last year, before going away again, I was able to record the single Breathe here in Toronto. Got it mixed and mastered with a producer here, Sam Williams, who's brilliant, here in Toronto, and then we just got the ball rolling.
So in writing for I gather there's some backstory to some of the. Did you not want us to go there? I'm sorry, we're already
That's
there.
so fine. We're there. There's
Yes, the
there's-
lyrics and some of the music. Yes,
Yeah.
and about, you know, finding your, well, we talked about finding your own voice, but coming to that place yourself of being free and whatnot. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, as it's interesting as a writer, a lot of times you write from personal experience. Sometimes you write from emotion, which doesn't necessarily stem from an experience, but whatever you're feeling at a moment. It could be empathy for somebody else, somebody else's experience. You, for example, is, to me, it's like the aspiration for this. So you is that dream person. So we all aspire to a certain type of love or a certain type of relationship. So it wasn't that I was singing from having that. It was what I was.
You just, okay, go on.
it's what I was hoping for, or what I am hoping for.
Okay. Hope alive, Hope
Yes,
alive.
keep hope alive. But then there's Breathe, which
Yes.
was written from a personal experience
Okay.
where I felt so heartbroken. I literally didn't think I could breathe. And we've all experienced that, whether it's in a relationship or through the loss of a loved one or some kind of life experience that knocks you in the gut and you feel like you can't move, you can't breathe. And that's why that song is very important, because it's a reminder that you will breathe again in spite of what you're feeling or your circumstance.
You're able to overcome.
Yeah.
It's inspirational. I find it inspirational.
Thank you.
So, how many songs do we have on the album?
There's 6 songs. 4 songs, 6 tracks. So there's a vamp to one of the songs, and then there's an extended version of Breathe.
And if you could describe it in a nutshell, 2 words.
Honest, provocative.
Yes.
You would agree with that?
What, definitely.
What 2 words would you use?
No, I don't know if I would choose differently. I'm like,
Okay, good.
It's authentic.
Yeah.
That's what I find it to be, authentic. I mean, I didn't know you before, but you can get that coming out of when you listen to the music. That's what you get coming out of it.
Thank you. That's what.
So mission accomplished.
Yes, mission accomplished. Exactly.
Okay, so what else can we expect from you? We haven't talked about your acting and your modeling and all of that. What are some of the other projects you're involved with?
In terms of modeling, it's always freelance, so it depends. I recently did a photo shoot for actually Ebby Rain.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Okay,
and
we
so-
look forward to that. Every
yes.
Rain is a luxury luggage line by Sonia Salmon.
And that will be coming out. That promo will be rolling out soon.
Okay.
And in terms of acting, I also do some musical theater, as I mentioned. And so I'm slated to do a show in Connecticut, a musical called Songs for a New World. And that will be running from the beginning of September to the middle of September.
Okay. Do you have any, like, I mean, with all the different things that you do, is there any one of those particular fields that you find yourself more at home?
Oh, music.
Music,
Music.
hands down.
Hands down.
And writing,
Yes.
singing, performing, because you
Performing.
Yeah.
And that's something also to realize about myself as well. Music is such if there's any singers or songwriters or musicians out there, it's such a diverse industry. Do not be pigeonholed. You know, especially nowadays, we're all told that if you're a singer, you got to be a recording artist, or you got to be hip hop or R&B, especially if you're a person of color. But you're not told about all of the working options that there are out there. There's musical theater, there's session work, there's cruise ships, there's theme parks, there's background singers, there's so
and
much.
you have done it all, haven't you? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I lost my train of thought there, but
No, but I'm just thinking, I'm glad you said it for, you know, a young person, or it doesn't matter what your age is, but
Yeah.
if you feel that this is your passion and your calling,
Yeah.
you know, like you're saying, the opportunities are boundless with where you could take that direction. And I'm glad you raised that point, because I also wanted to talk to you about the first album you did that was about 4 or 6 years
Yeah.
prior.
Yep, 6.
And so how has it changed now in terms of even in the earlier one where you didn't have full creative control on that one, did you, in the same way?
not in the same way, no.
So how is it different with you having the full creative control and in sense of you being able to connect with your fan base and to get it out there? Because it's a different space.
It's a
even
completely
in 6 years.
It's a completely different
Yeah.
space. Well, what I find is that I'm a lot more personally connected to it. I won't quote Erykah Badu exactly, but she said I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my stuff. And actually, she and I share the same birthday. But yeah, so you're a lot more sensitive about it.
Yes.
And you're a lot more personally connected. But at the same time, I'm also realizing that people are more connected to it. They respond to it in a different way. which is very rewarding,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also very telling and it's encouraging. So it lets me know, okay, right path.
Mm-hmm. So any other advice that you would give to somebody else out there who is wanting to pursue that path, or they have been pursuing that path and they've been struggling trying to find their own voice or whatever it is, they haven't quite launched the way they would have wanted to yet. From your experiences, what would you advise them?
That's challenging because everybody works. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine the other day. Everybody works in a different way. As a writer, I tend to hear melody, lyrics, harmony. Sometimes I get the entire song all in one. But I'm not a great musician. I just plunk on the piano. So I have to take all of that to a musician and work on it. Some people write just lyrics, and so they need to get with somebody who can write melodies and a musician to help them with that. So it's a matter of finding your space, being honest about that. Like, because I've had the opportunity to work in different capacities, I now know that I've done this, but I'm looking forward to collaborating with somebody. But I had to do this on my own this time. So being open to collaborate, being open to constructive criticism, having a teachable spirit.
Yeah. That's vital for just about anything,
It
too,
really
right?
is.
Yeah.
It really
If
is.
you really want to move forward, you're going to be open to that.
Yeah.
Not take it all personal.
Yeah, you cannot take it personal. You have to be open, because what I've realized is, even though I'm very happy with this project, you always need an editing ear. You always need somebody else to say, okay, try this, or don't do that, you know, because you're not always going to see yourself in the full light. Or in the same way that somebody else might see you and say, you know what, you could do this. You might not think you could do it, but you can try that.
And
or you know what, that's too much.
Yeah, and at the same time, how do you take the constructive criticism while still preserving what's uniquely you?
Exactly. And it's a
Yeah.
balance.
So it's like you gotta have to almost work those things out for yourself first, huh?
Yeah.
Mentors.
Now I have most of my mentors I don't know.
That's
they're
fine.
they're in my music, my playlist. Jill Scott has really been a big one.
I love her.
Yeah, me too. Because I think that, I don't know how she does it, but she always writes music that is right on the cusp of what I'm going through in my life, lyrically, and I like the way she articulates vocally. I love her honesty. I love her performance. Oh, this was when I lost my train of thought. I realized that I live in the live performance space, not in the studio.
Okay.
But I realized that studio is a necessary evil, if you will.
Okay, I get what you
Yeah.
I get what you mean.
Other people, Donny Hathaway, and like I said, Luther. Luther's somebody that I study as a vocalist, but in terms of artistry and total package, I think it would be Jill and Donny Hathaway.
Johnny Hathaway. Have you had opportunity to meet them?
No, I have not. I've worked with a lot of Jill Scott's team, her musicians and band. I've had the opportunity to work with quite a few, like, Broadway celebrities, if you will, and well-known musicians and singers in the recording industry, not necessarily major names. One of the biggest people I guess I've worked with is I sang background for Kim Burrell.
Okay.
And
What was that like, working?
It was a brief moment in time.
Okay.
You know, we literally had our rehearsals.
Yeah.
You know you're big when you meet your backup singers the same day as the show. So we had our rehearsals. We met her the day of the show. She was really lovely. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
So we've got a new album. It's
Yes.
out, and we want you. Okay, so is this a private party for the celebration, or anybody
It's
can?
open to the public. It is a small venue, so if you
Okay.
want to get tickets, I would say buy them online. You can go to my website. There's a link there, Robert Ball Music. You can also go to Eventbrite and look up Robert Ball and get the tickets. Like I said, it's a small venue. It is tomorrow night. But yeah, it's open to the public.
Okay, I think we should all go and support. I mean, it's okay if we have a run on the place.
That's all right.
It's a big party. But Robert, it was such a pleasure to finally meet you and to have you in studio to talk about your journey, to talk about your dynamic background and where you're going. We wish you all the success.
Thank you.
with
Thank
the
you for
way
having
forward.
me. And for yourself as well.
Oh, thank you. And we want to hear what's coming up next week. So do keep us in touch with what's going on.
I certainly will.
Okay. So after tomorrow night, where next will you be performing?
The next place I'm performing is London, Ontario on the 28th. of July, and I actually just solidified I'll be doing a couple dates in Ottawa and Montreal, so that will be up on my website.
Okay, I was about to say, so we can find out your itinerary on your website.
Yes.
And give us that again.
Robert Ball Music, BALL, Robert Ball Music.
Awesome stuff, folks. This is another episode of Living the Dream in Canada. We connect you with the game changers, the trailblazers, the trendsetters, and the living legends in Canada. They share their journey to success. We can learn from them and be on our own journey too. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time right here.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.